There's a version of the morning that goes like this. Before you're even fully awake, your hand reaches for your phone, not to check the time, to check if they replied. If they did, something lifts, a small, quiet warmth. The whole day tilts a little brighter. And if they didn't, if the message just sits there, seen, unanswered, something in you starts building. A story about what it means, what they're thinking, what you did wrong. So you go a little quiet, a little cold. And later, you send some half apology for something they never even noticed. And here's the strange part. The person you've been fighting has no idea there was a fight. They forgot the whole thing 5 minutes later. The hurt, the silence, the apology, all of it happened inside one head. On the word, yours. If you know that feeling, stay with me. Because what you're about to hear took me years to understand. There are words for people like you. You've heard them. Too sensitive. You overthink everything. Dramatic. Too soft. Maybe someone told you to toughen up, that you'd never get through life feeling things this hard. And part of you believed it. You started treating the most responsive part of yourself like a flaw, something to fix, something to apologize for. Here's the first thing you need to hear. That diagnosis is wrong. Nothing is broken in you. You're not weak, you're not too much. You've just been handed the wrong name for something, and the wrong name has been costing you. Because what you've been calling too sensitive isn't a defect, it's a setting. And once you understand the setting, everything starts to make a different kind of sense. Think of it this way. Most people move through their social world in standard definition. They catch the big signals and miss the rest. You don't. You catch the micro-expression that flickers for half a second, the shift in someone's voice they didn't know they made, the gap between what someone says and what they actually mean. You're not too sensitive. You're high resolution. You take in the world at a level of detail most people are simply blind to. And like any high-resolution system, it comes with a cost no one warned you about, and a gift no one taught you to use. So let's start with what's actually happening, because there's a name for this, and it isn't a character flaw. Back in 1996, 2 researchers studied this. Their names were Geraldine Downey and Scott Feldman, and they gave it a name: rejection sensitivity. Not a disorder, a disposition, a particular way some nervous systems are tuned. People high in rejection sensitivity do 3 things, without even meaning to. They brace for it before it ever comes. They see it in things that were never there, and when it does land, it doesn't sting, it floors them. Read that middle one again. They see it in things that were never there. That is the one that runs your life. It means that when a situation is ambiguous, a short reply, a flat tone, a message left unread, your system doesn't sit in the uncertainty. It resolves it. And it almost always resolves it toward rejection. The research found that people wired this way tend not to consider the other explanations, not because they're irrational, because the system is fast and it's trying to protect you. You might have heard the more extreme version of this, called rejection-sensitive dysphoria. Worth knowing the term, but worth being honest, too. That one isn't a formal diagnosis. It's a description clinicians use, mostly around ADHD. The science you can actually stand on is the rejection sensitivity work. And that science says something freeing. This is a known, studied wiring. You didn't invent it, and you're not imagining it. Here's the part that surprised me most. Researchers put people in a brain scanner and exposed them to social rejection. And the regions that lit up were the same ones that fire when your body is in physical pain. Put plainly, your brain barely tells the difference between being left on red and being cut with a knife. Biologically, both register as a wound. So when a cold reply genuinely hurts, when you feel it in your body, that's not you being fragile or dramatic. That's a pain system doing exactly what it was built to do. It just can't fully tell the difference between an injury to the body and an injury to a bond. And the same system that makes the hurt sharper is the one that makes everything else sharper too. Think of it like a smoke detector. A smoke detector that's set too sensitive will go off when you make toast. It's annoying. It feels broken. But it isn't broken. It's doing its job. Just at a threshold so low, it can't tell burnt bread from a real fire. That's your rejection radar. It can't always tell a genuine cold shoulder from someone who's simply busy or tired. or bad at texting. But here's the thing nobody says about that detector. The one set this sensitive is also the one that will catch a real fire before anyone else smells smoke. You don't rip it out of the ceiling. You learn which alarms to trust. So let's go back to the things you've quietly held against yourself. Checking your phone the second you wake up, heart picking up at a reply. That's not pathetic. That's a nervous system that treats connection as something close to survival. Reading too much into a scene with no answer. That's not paranoia. It's a threat detector running at maximum sensitivity. Replaying a conversation for days. That's not you obsessing. That's a mind running the situation again and again, precisely because the bond matters to it. And the colder one, the going quiet, the pulling back when you're hurt. That one's harder to look at. Because here's the cost the research is blunt about. When you perceive rejection, even rejection that isn't really there, you tend to do one of two things. You withdraw, or you push. You get cold first, so they can't be cold to you. And sometimes that reaction is what actually damages the relationship. You brace so hard against being left that you start the leaving yourself. That's the real price. Not just that it hurts you, that it can quietly cost you the very closeness you were terrified of losing, over a rejection your radar may have invented. And that's exactly why you can't just leave the detector screaming all day. You don't tear it down, you learn to recalibrate it. So here's what actually works. Not turning the radar off, you can't, and you wouldn't want to. The goal is smaller and more honest than that. You keep the sensitivity, and you take away the storm. Here's what worked for me. Pick one. Forget the rest. The first one I call the alternative read. When the sting hits, the unanswered message, the flat reply, your system has already written the story. They're pulling away. I did something. All you do is force one other ending, one explanation that has nothing to do with you. Their phone died. They're underwater at work. They're having their own bad day. You don't have to believe it. You just have to hold it next to the first story. So the first story stops being the only one. That's the whole move. The research said people like us skip this step automatically, so you do it on purpose. The second one saved me more than anything else. Let the wave pass before you act. A rejection wave is intense, but it's also short. It crests, and within hours, sometimes a day, it's gone. The damage doesn't happen during the wave. It happens when you act on it. When you send the cold message or go silent while the wave is still high. So you don't. You feel all of it. You just don't touch your phone for a day. Let the tide go back out, and then decide. And the third one is slower, and it's the one that actually changed the wiring for me. You build a self that isn't waiting. For a long time, my whole mood hung on one person's reply, like my worth was outsourced to a notification. What pulled it back was almost boringly simple. Learning to dance until my body felt like mine. Headphones and a book. A world I could live inside that didn't need anyone's approval to exist. Saying no to small things until no stopped feeling dangerous. None of that is about the other person. It's about making yourself the kind of place you don't have to flee. There's a book that gave me the image for this, Hesse's Siddhartha. There's a river in it, and the lesson is that the river takes in everything. Every sound, every sorrow, all of it, and still keeps flowing. It doesn't dam the water. It doesn't get swept away by it. It just lets it move through. That's the version of you I want you to aim for. Not the one who feels nothing. That was never the goal. The one who feels everything and doesn't drown in it. Because the same radar that reads rejection into a quiet room is the radar that finds the real ones. The friends who are actually sincere. The people who aren't using you. You don't pick those people by accident. You sense them with the same instrument that hurts you when it misfires. Turn the alarm down, and you can finally hear what it's been trying to tell you all along. You were never too much. You were just never taught how to hold what you have. And if this runs deeper than a hard week, if it has been shaping how you love and who you let close for years, a good therapist can take you further than any video can. That is not weakness either. That is just using a sharper tool for a deeper cut. So here's what I'll leave you with. The next time a silence opens up and your mind reaches for the worst reading, pause before you fill it in. Ask what else it could be. And if this is the first time someone's told you that what you've been calling a flaw is actually a high-resolution instrument, tell me down in the comments. When was the last time you read rejection into something that turned out to be nothing? You're not the only one. And if you want the thing that helped me start seeing it differently, I'll point you to it below.